everyone, it's TerrCacilia. Welcome to my channel. I am super excited to bring this video to you all. I wanted to make this video and it's been requested in different forms. So I decided to focus in the beginning with my first 3 major experiences with spirit. Before we even get into this video, and since I'm talking about spirit may decide things may be going bump, you might hear noises in the background, I may acknowledge noises in the background because I am talking about spirit and I am connected to spirit and I am open to spirit. So spirit may be bumping around and saying, hey, totally normal in my life, not unnormal. Let me set the scene. I am about 3, maybe almost 4 years old in this story. I was born, I think it was 5 years after my aunt was killed in a tragic car accident that has been obviously a part of my family's life from that moment going forward. She was 18, her name was Kathleen. I was kind of the happiness that was born afterwards. I basically grew up in this house. So I'm about 3 or 4 years old and I'm playing at the end of the hallway where there's all the bedrooms, kind of just not away from everyone because my toys were all in my deceased aunt's bedroom. So there's they didn't shut the room off, make it a shrine or anything. It was used. I would go in there, I slept in there when I slept over, my crib was in there. So I was in and out of there with toys and stuff. So I'm just playing and I remember her just coming down to me. And I was like, wow, you are beautiful, right? And she just hello dear. So this is gonna be a video of tears. I'm gonna need a Kleenex at some point. Oh boy. She's like, you show me to your mommy and grandma. I walked into that kitchen, I'm like, this is my new friend. This is fabulous. I walk in there, and I'm like, here she is! And I introduce her into the room. And they're looking at me like I have sprouted 2 extra heads on my shoulders. What is this child talking about? Oh, you have an imaginary friend now. I'm like, yeah. I'm like, no, she's everyone's friend. She's like, no, make up what I look like. Tell them what I look like. Make it up. So I'm like, green hair, blue body, white shoe. I'm just I always had a different description of what she looked like, but she always looked like a human being to me. Not extraterrestrial, but always beyond human. It's hard to explain because I was so young. I would ask my grandpa, what does dead look like? What do you think Aunt Kathleen looks like dead? I'm maybe 5, 6. I'm what does dead look like? What does dead look like? Because to me, they're oh, that's Kathleen, she's dead. I'm like, no, she's right there. She's not dead. She looks great. So he would be and my grandpa was a real... he would be oh, she's got long nails and her hair is all coming out of her head. And the scariest description. I think eventually he pulled it up on Google. Was this is what dead looks like. Because I would ask all the time. I stopped asking after I looked up what dead looked like. They pretty much thought I had an imaginary friend, but I know that was my major experience. First major experience that I can remember being a medium. The next story I have that's still me as a child experiencing things is on between 7 and 9, maybe 6, 7, 8, 9. My grandfather, my other grandfather on my father's side, was a Methodist minister, and they lived in different homes because the church moves you around. So they moved to this really nice, old, kind of Victorian home. Staircase, and it had the front house, and then it had the servant part of the house, and the back stairways for the servants and stuff like that. It was old. I used to love to play up and down the stairs and play near the top of the stairs and slinky down I used to love those stairs. So I would always play, and then there's a long hallway that you could see into the servant bathroom that had down the servant stairs. So as a kid, I always liked to go all the way upstairs and all the way down to the servant bathroom. But I always saw this young girl who would kind of peek around from the servant area, and she did not seem like she was a person of the house. She was a servant of the house. It's always the vibe I got. When I used to have to sleep over there, which was not often, one time sleeping there, I'm sleeping in the bedroom, And I remember like hearing these voices being like, what is she doing here? Who is this? Like they wanted to know who I was. Like in this house, they did not know what was going on. So when I was like connecting with different spirits in that house and at different levels, and I knew they like hid in like the closets upstairs, and they hid like in the like, they try to hide in like this attic area, and I could really feel them in that house. When I was a kid, we went to the eye doctor one time, and I was like, oh, I see stuff. Mom was like, oh my god, no, like don't tell a professional, like please, this is how you get locked away. I'm like, so he's like, oh, you know, she probably has some kind of whatever. So what is it called? I don't even know. Spectratum, what is it called? I don't even know. Spectratum. He had made me do like these stupid like eye exercises. I think that's hilarious. I think that's so naive and young that I was like, oh, I see things, like what's going on, because you're an eye doctor and like seeing. So yeah, it was again one of those things that just happened leading up to me being a teenager, and it really like kind of setting into hyperdrive. I did, when I was a kid, have terrible nightmares and night terrors of death and dying, and like I wasn't allowed to watch a lot of TV, and I wasn't shown like terrible things, and so I would like have these terrible nightmares, screaming nightmares, because I'm like dreaming of death or being there when people die, or people trying to like talk to me and they're like dead, and they're like these scary things. And now that I'm older and I know what it is, and I know it's spirits that are restless or are stagnant or are stuck in the in-between trying to move forward, and I'm able to help them move forward and move into the light, which I will discuss in a whole other video. I used to say a lot of weird things to my mom. I used to be like, you know, so-and-so's gonna die today, or I would say things that maybe someone in our family who was deceased would say, or information that I have no reason to know I would know because they were telling me, or I would dream that they tell me. So there was a lot of experiences like that. Again, subtle in-between things that were just signs that kind of just all built up. And I wanted to keep this video kind of what happened to me before I was like 13. Because when I was 13 is when my major experiences really, to me, some of the most notable started to take place. Hey everyone, the ending of this video never got recorded because my memory card was full. But I just wanted to remind you all that I am on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, and don't forget to hit subscribe. You can also visit me on TerrCacilia.com. I will see you in my next video. Stay blessed!